Hello, we're back. Just took a little bit to finish setting up from the last one to start getting ready for this one. So this is one where I've kind of done my traceable that's available on Patreon. And this is you can see the reference image off to the left of the screen. And we're not going to follow this to the letter. We're going to kind of change it up a bit, just because I feel like it'd be more fun if it was a little more, well, we'll go with current, but really I mean edgy. So I'm going to design this to look a little more unique. But as always, the first thing I'm going to do is paint in my background. And I'm thinking that because I think I want to do my heart in like I think I want to do it with blue. No, I'm not going to do blue because I'm going to have the girls dress in blue. So I'm going to kind of puzzle out my colors. So if I want my dress in blue over here, and I'm going to have the dude over here in purple, and the dog's going to be white, I'm thinking that maybe I'll use like a pink maybe for the heart itself, and maybe I'll just do whatever was left over from my last painting kind of mixed into the background because I still have some of that teal and some of that purple. So I think I'm going to do that as the background. I'm just kind of work that in a little bit. Just because I already have it. It's already there. And I didn't use it all on my palette from the last painting. So I'm going to make sure it doesn't get wasted. I'm going to use it here. And I'm kind of throwing it on there kind of haphazard because I'm wanting to go back in and kind of smear in some purple. And this has that shiny kind of texture into it. So it'll be a shiny background. Which would have been, wildly unusual for a vintage, Valentine, but we're not designing it to necessarily look vintage. We're just using vintage Valentines as sort of the reference image. We're gonna have some fun with it. We're gonna turn it kind of on its head. And who knows, maybe at some point I'll do like a cool little goth one or something in this series, being that I still have 4 more left after this. And I'm going to kind of work in that purple. And you see it's kind of mixing together in like a little bit of a galaxy vibe. And I'm totally here for that. But I am going to kind of like outline my heart a little bit here. So that way when I go to put in the heart, I don't have to worry about whether or not I've gotten too close or something. And there'll be some areas where I'll naturally have a little more purple showing, and some areas where I might have naturally a little more of the blue showing. We'll kind of flip it around and add a little bit of both back in, and kind of wanting it to both to be represented but not necessarily balanced in all places. Sometimes that's the downside with some of these like iridescent paints, is that they come out of the tube really fast and you always wind up with more than you meant to. So it becomes a challenge of how do you use that paint so that it's not wasted. Okay, and we're going to do up here at the top. As always, we kind of want to be consistent. When you're working in an area, work on the sides and the top so that way you don't have any, white canvas showing. If it's not totally obvious, these are my favorite colors. These are actually the colors of my house. My door is kind of that bright purple, and the rest of my house is sort of this really cool sky blue. And when I made my wedding reception dress, it was done in this turquoise with black taffeta. And then I made my husband a matching coat in the damask taffeta in the purple. So these are very much like the symbols of us. And I do have a little bit of that light blue that I used from my last stream that I might work in here as well. We'll see. I'll kind of throw some in there and see how I feel about it. We're kind of wanting a little bit of a galaxy effect going on here. And over here it's gotten a little purple heavy, so I'm going to go ahead and add in some of my blue as I'm kind of going around the heart and then kind of working it up into the rest of the paint. And then I'm going to take a little bit of my purple and kind of work that in. I definitely need to work fast so that way the paint that I've already thrown down on the canvas doesn't dry. I want it to kind of all mix together. So I'm trying not to be super particular at first because I'm trying to get all of the color in. And I am going to wind up using that lighter stuff, probably more on the sides where it's not as prominent. I'm going to turn it this way just so I can get at the sides a little better. Especially since I don't have any more of that shiny blue. Whatever I have on here is all that I have. So I definitely have to, make sure I make it work. And I'm going to turn my canvas upside down. Actually, no, hold on. I'm going to get the top real quick. Before I do that, I did not finish up here at the top. There we go. Now we're ready. I'll flip it over because that'll make getting over here a little easier. And I'm going to try and work in a little bit of this purple into where I had this blue down. And then kind of creatively add back in any of that remaining blue paint that I still have. I'm definitely taking care to kind of handle the front first before I tackle the sides, because I can always use, because I've got plenty of that metallic purple, and I can always go back in and add more of that in other places. It's a little less hard to come by. And I'm going to probably grab some more of that metallic purple to stick on my palette to do the underside. And now the bottom side, now that I've got the sides all kind of taken care of. And now I'm going to kind of get up close and personal with these areas, and I'm going to switch to a smaller brush for that. I'm going to kind of work in a little bit of that light blue there. Add a little bit of variation. And I'm going to kind of outline where that shoe is. And the bottom of the heart. Normally I probably would have wanted the heart to be like purple or blue, but because I'm going to have that for the girl and the boy, it wouldn't have been noticeable there. So instead, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to work a little bit of that blue in there, just because it's feeling a little purple heavy in that spot. And we're going to work around his shoe over here. And around the dog's tail. Now we're just going to kind of clean up the line going up his leg here. And I'm going to throw a little bit of this blue out there for the balance. And I'm going to turn my canvas back right side up. And I'm going to take a kind of look and see where it needs some more blue. I think we need a little here. I think we need a little there. Just kind of slowly kind of working it into a couple of areas. Since I do still have it a little on my palette and I want to use it up. And I think that about covers us. I think we're good. I think our background is totally kind of in. We probably won't do a whole lot more with it, but we'll see. I don't know what color I really want my heart yet, so I'm going to leave the actual heart piece alone and start working on the rest of it. So I'll start with the things I do know. I do know that my girl is going to have red hair. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And this is a cadmium deep red hue. And a little water on my brush because it's not moving as nicely as I want. And then I'm going to come over here and do, her bangs. And my pink gotten a little tacky because I've had that red out since I was working on my first painting today. So I'm going to put just the tiniest bit down. So I've got some clean, fresh paint that's, going to work with me instead of against me. There we go. And we're going to have it where her hair kind of curls out a little here. And we won't worry about too much else for there. All right, next we're going to go ahead and put in her hat. We're going to focus on the girl first. And I'm thinking for her dress that we will do kind of a turquoise. Let me find a good turquoise to use. And since this is a brand new tube, and peel the sticker. And I'm just going to put a little bit on my palette. There's not a whole lot of dress going on, so it shouldn't require very much. And we'll probably use a little bit of the turquoise and like a light blue. So I'm going to outline her dress in this kind of a turquoise first. And she's got kind of a pleated dress. So even though it kind of shows them all level, you're going to want each one to be just slightly different, because as much as I hate to say it, no matter how careful you are, your pleats are never going to hang totally straight. So from a realistic standpoint, I'm going to let a couple of them, you know, be a little off. Especially as like she's bending. They would not be like all even. And then we kind of got, this is an umbrella, so we're not going to do there. But we are going to go up like this. And this would be sort of the color that we use for her bow, because it's sort of an accent. So we'll put it up, we'll outline the bow too. We'll go ahead and fill in the line for the actual, you know, ribbon brim. All right, so now I'm going to use a little bit of light blue and kind of work it in. And it's okay if these kind of get a little smeared, that's the goal. We'll go back in and add our lines kind of more cleanly back in at a later point. We don't want to lose the idea of where that cuff goes, so make sure to not cover up anywhere where it's going to be white. And before my area dries, I am going to go ahead and add my line back. Just so that it's not lost. And I'm going to add a little bit of white into the body of this kind of light blue, just because the light would hit each pleat a little different. So we're just kind of showing that that's how light works. That's not all a solid being color there. And we're being kind of careful again not to cut off where the white cuff would go, or the arm. Just kind of telling about the story of this dress. Kind of reminds me of like the Mariner's dress from Gertie's pattern book. The Mariner, I think, is a Patreon pattern. I have I'd have to check to be sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what the Mariner is. That, you know, as long as you're subscribed to Gertie Hirsch's Patreon, that you'd be able to have access to that one. One's not one of her paid charm patterns. And I'm gonna go ahead and kind of put in this white bit here just so that way it doesn't get lost. And the same with this kind of cuff over here. I'm going to go ahead and paint it in. And I'm going to go ahead and fill in this kind of collared bib here. We're going to outline it in white as they did in the reference. Now we're going to stick that white detailing in there. And then we'll put the blue in the bow. And kind of line it back again so it's not lost. And kind of create that little bit of variation detail. And we'll use a little bit of that in here too. Haven't decided what color her umbrella is going to be, so I'm going to leave that alone for now. For her skin, I'm going to use kind of a Naples yellow. And then I'm going to kind of fluff it out with a little bit of white so it's not so yellowy. And we'll add a lot more detail in here after the fact, but for now we're just putting in our color. We'll go ahead and do her hand. Oh, her hands are in gloves. I didn't even notice that, really. We'll come back to that part. And we'll slide back to her shoes too. I think we're finished kind of looking about here for now. I'm going to kind of focus on this. On him now. We'll focus on him now. Because I know I want my dog white. I know I want my dog white. But to decide what I want for the background of my heart, I need to decide what I'm doing for him. And I'm thinking he's going to be in sort of like black pants, like black shorts. So we'll do that. We'll put that layer in. In fact, we're going to change his look a little bit. He's going to be in black pants instead of black shorts. because I don't know too very many that would wear shorts now. I just don't. So it might change our line a little bit, but hopefully not too much. And actually it should come down further for pants. It should come down to here. And it kind of goes from there. So we'll make that the kind of line for that side of the pants. And this will be kind of the line for the front of where that is. And where I'm thinking that pockets would kind of go there. And sort of like a pocket would kind of be coming off the other side over there. So I'm going to kind of mostly fill this in black. But I am going to add a little to make it kind of gray in a couple of areas, so that way that this line of where like kind of like the crotch splits is still noticeable. So these are kind of like worn out black pants. And I'm thinking that the pocket line would be sort of kind of grayed out too, so that we can kind of see where the pocket line actually is once the black is all in. And I'm being careful not to kind of cover up where his hand goes, holding the leash. And I'm going to smear a little bit of white in this area just so that, again, it's not, you know, the crotch line isn't lost. And we're kind of telling the story about these. These are not new pants. These are pants that have been around a little while. So I'm kind of smearing it in. These are worn out pants. And we're just going to finish kind of putting the black in. And then the inside of this pocket. We'll add a little bit of white over here. And inside the pocket there. Okay, I'm pretty happy with how that looks so far, so I think we're ready to move on. I'm thinking that he's gonna wear a really rich purple shirt, maybe something like a dioxine purple. So we'll use that. And we might add a little bit of that like shiny purple that we've got going on in the background, maybe in a couple of places, but we shouldn't really need too very much of this. And I'm thinking that the collar piece would probably be black. And I'm being careful not to cover where the white cuff is. I'm not going to leave that white, but I don't want to lose the line. Because I kind of want that to be black as well. I'm just being very careful about where I stick this dark purple just because it is so dark. It'd be really hard to cover it, like in a way that's even harder than even necessarily the black. If I had thought about it and did like a full like Haunted Mansion caretaker thing, I probably would have done this a tiny bit differently. Had this been like the bone skinny dog, and maybe I would have done that as the bride. I don't know. There could have been a more fun way to theme this other than just changing the colors, but I don't know. I'm excited anyway. All right, and before I go any further, I think I'm going to go ahead and put in my black because I think that'll make this easier for me to do if I can see where that's meant to go. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the black cuffs. And then the black collar. And then kind of continues up in between where the little bow goes. And this kind of goes up over his shoulder. I think I'm going to let this one flare a little more like it does in the image. And kind of here as well. And then I need to decide about the ball. I'm thinking I'll do it in the turquoise. And I'll add in some more details in there after the fact, but for now we'll just kind of get that coloration in there. In the little knot part there. And that little knot part there. And that way it's easier to see which parts of this I still need to paint purple. And right there is where his hand begins, so I think for now that's pretty good. And I think I'm going to give him a purple hat too. So I'm going to turn this upside down so I don't stick my hand down in my paint. And I'll flip it back over. And I'm going to put a little bit of like black in the brim. It won't show a whole lot, but I want to be able to say like this is where, you know, the hat kind of folds on itself. And now I'm going to stick more of the purple back in. And we need to have kind of an underside to his hat, which is kind of going to be a shadow here. So I'm going to do that mostly in that black. We'll give the boy some brown hair. We'll go with some burnt umber, and I'm going to use so little of this, I'm just going to take it right out of the cap. I think we're going to kind of even that out a little bit, and he's got a bit of a little cowlick bit here as well. So we've got kind of the hair in there. ahead and stick his skin in too. Because I'm lazy, we'll use the same kind of color for his skin. Something that's sort of fleshy. I really should have added more white to the other side. So I'm going to fix that real quick. Because now that she's dried, she looks sort of jaundiced. And that's not what we're wanting. That's a little better. A little more porcelain. Now we'll finish putting him together. An idea of where the skin is. And it gave me an idea for kind of adding in that same like diox purple into her hat. Since I tied this little bow tie in with hairs, makes sense to continue like I should tie the purple into her too. I'll probably fill that part kind of mostly with black, so it's kind of underneath. And then go back and add like the purple on top. And I might add a little bit of like a lighter purple, kind of an accent or light hitting the top of her bonnet. Just because I think it would. And just so it's not so incredibly dark. Like she's not wearing a dark outfit. Thank you. I'm kind of happy with how these ones are coming out. Did you see the ones I did earlier today? I was actually thinking it was a missed opportunity that I didn't wind up doing these as like characters from the Haunted Mansion to go with the Yours Forever that I wound up doing with the cat. I'll show you real quick. So the first one I did this morning was this. And the second one that I just finished up wound up with an unexpected like Haunted Mansion theme. So I made it like a Yours Forever. you know, because it'd be a ghost kitty, and ghost kitties are around forever. And I'm totally here for it. We were watching an anime last night where they had like I think it was called The Ancient Magus Bride, and they had gone to this place where there was like a king cat. And you know, they stated that cats actually did in fact have like 9 lives, and you know, they became progressively more intelligent and you know, grew the ability to speak and reason and whatnot with each life. And the very fact that there was like a king cat was just epic. Absolutely loved it. And Paul had asked me, he's like, all right, so if you had the option to stay with me and the dogs or have a cat island where they were all nice and they all loved you, would you leave? I said no, but I would probably think about that missed opportunity forever because cats are so cool. I think I'm going to go ahead and add this where I had it initially white. I think I'm going to go ahead and make it purple. I'm going to tie it back in. She wouldn't just randomly have a purple accessory in her hat. It'd have to tie into her outfit in some way. Flip it back over just to make it kind of easier to work with. And I'm going to adjust the trim. And maybe I'll make it where her gloves are black. So I've got the purple trim on the coat. I'm still trying to work out what color I want for the heart. I'm reasonably stumped. I can't really use any of my favorite colors because they are already sort of in the painting in other places. So it definitely makes it super hard. And then there's the cuff for this part of her jacket. I'm thinking that she might have purple shoes too. I'm thinking she should have purple shoes. This is a slightly like much deeper shade of purple, so it should, you know, not, I shouldn't have to worry about it backing up against the background too much anyway. And the other shoe kind of goes like this because you're only seeing the front of it. Oop, I meant to put in the flesh tone of the hand too and got completely distracted. Let me go ahead and fix that real quick. I meant to, you know, have these done a lot earlier so that way I could go to the store in Longwood and have these for sale like in a store because I was realizing I don't have a market before Valentine's Day and it'd be really hard to kind of sell some of these pieces, you know, after Valentine's Day. So I was hoping she might have better luck. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and outline her eyes, and I'm gonna go ahead and put in her lips. And we're going to do the same for him. They have his mouth kind of open, but I don't know about that. I'm thinking we'll do his mouth the same way. And I'm going to go ahead and outline the eyes. Well, not totally outline. I'm going to do the top. And then I'm going to put the pupil. And the little girl is obviously like, you know, yo ho ho, whatever about this boy. She's all about this dog. And same for the boy. I'm going to go around the top. And he's looking at her. So his pupils are going to be kind of more over there. So we've kind of got that going on for the eyes. And I'm thinking for his shoes, they'll just be solid flat black. They shouldn't get too mixed up with the pants because the pants are kind of more gray. Are you having a good weekend, Katie? Yeah. That's that part so far. Trying to decide where I want to tackle next. I'm thinking I want to deal with this umbrella. I'm thinking she's going to have black gloves. You would still be looking at the dog. I'm sure you would. I'm I'm not sure what color I want for her parasol of sorts. I think I'm going to take it to a light purple, like a light purple. And I think I might do the same light purple for her stockings. I just gotta, there we go. That's the shade I was looking for. Light purple. Yeah, I'm sure. Is she doing okay now, though? Paul had said that there was fluid around her heart. Again, I'm kind of hoping that this is a light enough purple at this point that this won't really contrast too hard with this bit that it's got overlapping with the background. Well, that's good. I'm glad she's feeling a little better. When Paul got the call last night that your mom was looking for Pepsid, I was a little worried. And I'm kind of smearing this to make this a much lighter shade because this is kind of I'm wanting the darker shade to be sort of like just the outline and then where I'm going to have her buttons because these are sort of spats. Like this is a raincoat, that's a rain hat, she's got an umbrella. These are spats. That's kind of the story that we're telling right here. It makes me wonder if historically February has always been sort of dreary and rainy. If Valentine's Day cards, you know, featured some scenes like this. And I'm going to put a little more white in just because I want to tone this up a little bit. then I'm going to rinse my brush. And I'm going to take my dotting tool. And then I'm going to dip it into the purple. And I'm just going to put a few little dots sort of in the center, going down the side. And then I'm going to draw a purple line going alongside them to show like that's where they're overlapped and buttoning. Oop, I just stuck my hand in paint, like you do. But so far my weekend's been pretty good. I'm a little sad I didn't get more done, but such is life. Such is life as me when you try to overdo everything. Oh, I messed up. That part's supposed to be where the glove is. So I'm going to stick this part as black. So I'm thinking she's going to have black gloves. And it's kind of got a thumb that goes up there, and then some fingers. And these ones, they kind of call out a little separately. And it kind of goes down like this. Kind of touch up that part there. And it means I kind of need to do a little bit of work with over here, because that part would still be visible. There'd still be dress there. And I'm thinking I actually want to cover up part of that cuff. I think it goes up too high. And for the end of the umbrella, I'm going to say that the umbrella is going to match her spats. I'm going to say that the handle is this dark purple, or this darker of the light purples anyway. And to kind of create the idea that her fingers are there, I'm going to kind of use white to kind of do that there. That's where her fingers would be kind of grasping, you know, the umbrella. And I'm going to say that the back half of the umbrella, I'm going to put in here like this. And then I'm going to kind of lighten it up, so that way it matches the lightest color of her spats. And I'm thinking that the handle would probably have a little bit of detailing on it. So I'm going to take this dark purple and I'm going to just add some stripes. For like the handle itself. And then I think that the top would kind of have stripes going this way. So I'm going to outline that with a little bit of dioxine purple. And I think I kind of want to stick a little bit of this up here too. Kind of add a little bit of where the light would be hitting the top of her head. Just a little bit. So she's super stylish in the rain. I'm kind of jealous. I want this outfit. I need to make this outfit one day. I'm just going to say it and need it. Need it. And I'm going to kind of stick a little bit of that darker turquoise here in the center of the hat, just because it feels like it needs it there. All right, now because my dog is going to be white, I need to decide what I'm going to do about this background. And I'm still not totally sure. Like, I don't want to do a warm color. I'm thinking maybe I might use like a seafoam. Maybe something like this. No, I don't like that. Maybe gray. Maybe gray? A gray heart? That might work. A gray heart might work. If not, we'll make it work. Because that's what we do here. We make it work. All right, I'm going to go back to using a 1 round for this. And I'm going to start kind of cleaning up my line from where I filled in my background. And start kind of getting that into a proper heart shape. Although I'm already not liking it. It's not light enough. So I think I'm going to have to mix some like white into my gray, because I don't think it's super contrasting against my very, very bright background. Yeah, I'm going to have to go with something that's more like dove gray here. So I'll go ahead and put my dark gray down, and then I just will have to know that I'm going to clean it up, because I want to get my lines kind of decided. You'll be happy to know, Katie, that the theme of this one is going to be called like puppy love. And I'm probably going to write the word puppy love somewhere on here. I'm not totally sure where yet. We'll see when I get that to that point. We were realizing yesterday that there'll probably never be any point for the rest of the Puggle's life that he won't be in a cone. He's probably cone bound for the rest of his natural days, because he still has a bit of the eye ulcer. It's still there. It's still like oozing a little bit. A friend of mine had a 13-year-old cat that just passed away. And she also has a 17-year-old cat that she's had since I've known her in college. And it's sort of amazing to me, you know, what some animals will live through and what some just don't. All right, now I'm going to flip it back around, and I'm going to kind of start working on getting this heart filled in. And I'm going to lean kind of towards a dove gray. That's what I'm kind of hoping to lean for, because I don't want this dark. Like, it doesn't work dark, but it doesn't work as a white heart. Yeah, she's very sad. She came to pick up that other dresser today, because I was originally going to come down and see her when I had, you know, eventually had hoped to have a new truck, but being that that wasn't going to be a thing that's going to happen, it doesn't look like it's going to be a thing that's going to happen anytime soon. She had her husband watch the kids and came down to get that, or yeah, came up. I'm sorry. She now lives in the Four Corners area, so she drove a fair way, which means I definitely owe her a visit soon. We've learned that Luna does not like masks. She growls at people wearing masks. That's a thing that happened. So Luna got some cage time today for bad manners. And when I'm that close to the edge, I think oh, that makes sense. We had when I was working at the Legion, they had a woman who brought her dog in every day, and she always barked at anyone wearing a mask. Like you were scary until they could see your face. So yeah, that makes sense. But it was still poor behavior on Luna's part. Because at first she was super excited, it was jumping all over her. And then she was having a cow and falling through it. And I legitimately started to be worried that, she might bite somebody. And I've never really feared that before with her. So that was a new feeling and it was very scary. So I immediately just kind of put her in her cage. Because I didn't want to risk it. She's never bitten somebody intentionally before. She play bites with us, but I never want it to be a thing where there's ever anything on record that she's bitten somebody, whether she was scared or otherwise. There we go. Kind of just slowly filling in this space. Still not sure how I feel about the gray. We'll see when I get towards the end. I might wind up putting like whitewashing some color over it. We'll see. But I'm just struggling to think of any color that would work under there that isn't already present, like numerously. I kind of painted out a little bit of my line there, so I'm going to fix that real quick since I'm right here. Just a quick correction. There we go. And kind of getting around the toes. I was thinking about it earlier that I don't really remember how old Lady is, the Chihuahua I got when I was in high school. We got her in February of 2005, and I try not to think about too close about how old that would make her and how amazing it is that she's still alive. But if I had to try to guess without thinking about the math of it, I guess she's probably maybe about 17. But don't confirm for me. I don't want to know. I don't want to know that she's that old. That would be kind of hard to think about. I haven't been up there and I feel horrible that I haven't been up to see her and my mom since I don't know, it's been 2 years, 3 years. Because the last time I was up was for my brother's memorial when we finally put his ashes down. And I'm not looking forward to another visit, but at the same time, I know I need to go. Like, as soon as it's safe to do so, I need to go up there. I need to check in on her. She had the defibrillating pacemaker put in, and I'm nervous. I'm nervous for her. Time and money haven't really allowed that, and I don't get a lot. Well, I'm technically not allowed to take any vacation until I've been with my company for a whole year. So I know I won't be allowed to go at all until November, but don't think I'll be able to actually afford to go in November unless I drive myself. Because I looked at flights and flying at that time of the year is too expensive. Like I even looked at flying on Christmas Day and it was just too expensive. And that's absurd. It should not be so expensive to fly on a day that only a handful of people in the world are even considering flying. Like that was a cheap flight when I was flying on Christmas Day from London to Miami in 2017, 2017, I think. Yeah, I think the gray is kind of growing on me. I think it's gonna work. Hallelujah. Because I'm already like, not quite half, but somewhere approaching half. Too late to turn back now. There's no going back now. Sorry, couldn't resist. Haunted Mansion. Oh, I could have done them as the creepy butler and the creepy maid. Oh man, there were so many missed opportunities. I did not think this through. I did not think this through. So many cool ideas I could have done if I had just thought about it for even a second longer. I'm gonna try and kind of get around these fingers as cleanly as I can. But I might wind up kind of shrinking her fingers a little bit. But she's a little girl. She's supposed to have tiny fingers. It's fine. And I can always go back over them with black if I really think I shrunk them too much. I really love the art style of vintage Valentines. Like, they're just so fun. I mean, the puns are absolutely corny as hell, but I think if I was to do this again, I would probably do this with the butler and the maid from Haunted Mansion. I don't know what it is about the Haunted Mansion right now, but it's just absolutely on my mind. I think I'm having ride withdrawals. I'm having Disney ride withdrawals. I miss the theme park so much. It feels like a part of my soul has been cast adrift. Let's see. And I wonder, challenge, who are some other like noticeable Disney couples that I could have done this in instead? It could have been Anita and Roger from 101 Dalmatians. I could have done that. It could have been, oh, and then it could have been a Dalmatian. Ah, true missed opportunity. True missed opportunity. Let's see, what else? It could have been, let's see, could have been Tarzan and Jane. And I could have done that as a gorilla instead. I could have done Let's see, think. I could have done Snow White and the Prince, and I could have had a squirrel where the dog is. Let's see. I could have had, oh, I could have had Cinderella in the Prince and their dog Rufus. I'd actually have to check that. I don't remember what Cinderella, Bruno, that's what it is. Bruno is Cinderella's dog's name. I could have had Bruno in there. I think Bruno looks an awful lot like Trusty from The Lady and the Tramp. Very similar styled dogs. And I think instead of a heart on the envelope, I think I'm going to put a paw print. I think that might be cuter. And I'm going to turn this around just to make it easier to get to the other side. And kind of just trying to get most of the area filled in so I can kind of see what needs to be done still. Any kind of cleanup or design corrections I need to do. Or if there's any cute little like elaborations I can add after I finish painting in the dog. The question is what color do I do the dog? I was originally thinking white like Luna, but being that the leash is in his hands, maybe it should be kind of a brown. Maybe we should make it like a puggle. Being that I sort of modeled these after Paul and I, just because of the color scheme. Not that we don't love both of our doggies very much, because we do. We love both of our babies very, very much. But even though Luna is more his dog and Cloud is more my dog, he came to me with Cloud. So I'm thinking I gotta do a puggle. Thinking I gotta do a puggle. I don't think I ever finished thinking about all the different ways I could have made this Disney. There's a lot of ways I could have made this Disney. Let's see. Could have done an owl and Philip and Aurora. I could have done, let's see. I could have done this as Ariel and Eric and then had Sebastian, although that might have been a little too silly because he's a sea creature. That might have been too silly. But I could have had his dog. I could have had his dog, Max. I want to say it's Max. I want to say Prince Eric's dog, his name is Max. I'm reasonably sure his dog's name is Max. Let's see. Other princes with dogs. Other princes with dogs. Let's see. I'm actually not sure if there are too very many others. But no, but like I could have done like the others where it's more of a thing for her, or you know, more of just an animal that exists in the movie in general. I think I've landed on doing a puggle in the center. Yes, I could have. You're absolutely right. I could have done Anna and Holmes and then Olaf or Sven. I could have had Sven. You're right. Could have totally had Sven in there. Lots of options. I just didn't think about it long enough. I got it in my head I wanted to get finished. Okay, and I'm going to kind of touch up a couple of areas and add a little bit of kind of random highlight. We kind of want this to look kind of aged. This is not new. This has been around a while. So we're going to add a little bit of like weatheration. It's been around the block. It's been beloved. This is a Valentine that has been held on and saved for a long time. And this part up here never got the kind of lightning treatment, so we'll give it some light up here. And I'll put a little bit of water on my brush so that way I can kind of smooth out the line a little bit. Because I don't want the line that sharp there. There we go. And maybe a little down here. And maybe a little over here too. Just adding a little bit of kind of lightning. A little too much happened over here though, so let's take that back a little bit. There we go. All right, pretty happy with that so far. Let's see. Come here, Puggle. I need to look at you. Oh, poor dude. We should make you when you're younger too without so much white on your face. Poor Mr. Puggle. All right, so I'm going to take some yellow ochre, I think is what I'm going to start with. I'm going to use yellow ochre and red ochre. The reason I'm using these specifically is because they're kind of their respective colors kind of mixed with a little bit of brown. The yellow ochre kind of looks like a yellow that has been mixed with a light shade of tan, and red ochre kind of is the same. It looks like red where it's been mixed with a little bit of tan, and that would give you kind of a general, you know, a general beetle look to it. So I'm going to start there, and I'm going to kind of outline first in this red ochre. And I'm going to change the ears a little bit, actually. We're going to let them kind of droop a little more. Let's see. And that there. I'm going to go ahead and outline the eye, just so it doesn't get lost. Then outline the body. Oh, it could have been Mulan, Shang, and Mushu. That would have been dope for like the Chinese New Year especially. And he's kind of dark more on the back, so we're going to put that there. And then we're going to kind of work in some of this yellow ochre. I'm going to paint back in the collar later. Let's see, who else? Oh, Jasmine, Aladdin, and Raja. That could have been a good one. Let's see. I could have done Belle, Beast, and the Footstool Dog. I mean, I know it's actually a kid, but, you know, it basically is a dog. Oh, no, I'm thinking of the wrong thing. The dog, the footstool is still a dog. It's just, I don't know why the dog gets transformed when it's already an animal. It's kind of unfair, really, that the dog gets punished with everyone else in the castle. Just saying. I'm going to work a little bit more of that red ochre in on the back. And then kind of scale it back a little bit. We're trying to kind of create a rich color there. Oh, yeah, with the monkey, you're right. Totally could have been Abu. Totally could have been Abu. Let's see. Oh, okay, now I'm gonna really challenge myself. I'm gonna try and think about the Disney princesses sort of in order. There's Snow White. I already kind of covered an idea with her. Then there is Aurora. I covered an idea with her. Then we have Cinderella. I covered an idea with her. And then there's Ariel, Belle, Jasmine, Mulan. Why do I feel like I'm... Oh, Merida. What would Merida's be? The bear? It'd be like a bear cub or something. Maybe one of her brothers, because they look sort of like, kind of like animals crawling around on the ground. All right, Puckle, I need to see you for a second. Okay. You got kind of something like this going on, too. So we're going to put a little bit of black in there. And you kind of got a little bit of it on your tail, too. I'll go ahead and put... You got a little bit here on your ears. Your ears are kind of mostly black, actually. So we'll do that. We'll round it off. And the same on this side. You got a little black puggle nose. And I know it's because you're old, but you do have kind of like some whitey gray going on your face. We're not trying to get like, oh, yes. Well, but Moana doesn't really have a love interest, but it could just, you know, we could omit that part and just kind of center the girl. Oh, and then I have to have Hey, her chicken, her really stupid chicken that eats rocks. Not that I haven't heard the dogs occasionally eat rocks. I did hear that story. We're going to put a little bit of gray in here too. And let me see your paws, Puckle. Let me see your paws. All right, you're kind of light at the paws, so we'll use a little more of that. Where is it? Naples yellow at your paws. I'm not saying you're old, dude, but I'm totally calling you old. Yes, yes, absolutely. Coconut on his head. Absolutely perfect. All right, we're gonna lighten up your face a little bit, dude. I mean, we're not doing a pet portrait here. This is not meant to be kind of this specific, but you know, we talking about how much you love me, dude. You love me a lot, so we're gonna be a little bit more nitpicky here than we really should be. Definitely more nitpicky than they were in the reference image. And you got a little more white on your head. So we're gonna kind of put a little bit of that up here. And we got kind of a little bit of this kind of going down in your tail too. Now we're going to talk about this envelope a little bit. I know I know that Cloud would much rather, chew the envelope than actually give it to me. Getting things out of his mouth is next to stinking impossible. So this is absolutely in like a dream world setting. We're going to go ahead and use some white to kind of clean up my line here. I do think I'm going to keep the heart for the envelope. And I think I'm going to have the envelope be like that original dark gray. Yes, you're right. He would totally no, he chews things more now. He wouldn't swallow the envelope whole. He would chew it up. He would savor his time and chew it and then turn it into a mulchy pulp. Maybe like tease Luna with it a little bit. Okay, and now we're going to use a little bit of white on the inside so that way. Actually, no, maybe I'll make it. Maybe I'll make it black. And that way I can use that dark gray kind of filling in the side. There we go. And then I'll fill it in using gray. Oh, that's true. That's true. If I was trying to take it from him, he would absolutely try to swallow it in one go. %. That is definitely like Puggle behavior. He's not going to sit there and try to keep chewing on it if you're taking it out of his mouth. He's going to try and swallow that. And then over here. I might go around the heart in black too at the end. Just to kind of sharpen up the line because I don't like the lines not as sharp as I'm picturing in my head. back while the envelope is drying. I think I will go ahead and go around the heart in black. And then I gotta decide where I might put the words puppy love. If I want to try fitting it inside here, maybe. And to keep myself from putting my wrist down into the envelope, I'm going to turn my canvas. This way. Oh, I gotta put it back this way again. And I've moved my painting over so I could rest my wrist on the easel itself without putting my hand in my painting. Okay, we're getting there. And I think that it will have a little turquoise heart. And I'm going to outline it in black. Right, feeling pretty good about it. I don't know, what do you think? Do I need to add the words puppy love on here anywhere? Oh, actually, I need to put his leash on. Holy crap, you cannot have a puggle without a leash. Holy mother freaking god, how did I forget such an important thing? We won't put his harness on him, we'll use a collar. Puggle without a leash. No way. That would never be a thing that would happen. You don't think it needs it? I don't think it needs it either. I think you'd be okay without it. And then this part, the leash kind of goes there. Okay. I think I'm ready to sign it. I think it's done. Actually, no, I didn't put the eyes in. Didn't put the color eye. Blue eyes and brown eyes. And Puggle's got brown eyes. Oh, I lost a little bit of the white. Need a little bit of the white back there. You know what? I think I'm going to add some lashes. There we go. It's finished. Amen. Just gotta sign it. And I think I'm gonna do black. All right. What do you think? How did I do? Given that I changed it very much from the reference image. I think it came out all right. Thank you for hanging out with me. Let's see, 6:43. I will not make it to Longwood by 7. So I guess I'm not taking these to any kind of store. But that's okay. I like this well enough that it could probably hang in my craft room and I'd be happy with it. In any case, I'm signing out for the night. You have a wonderful evening. Come and meet me at the easel soon. Bye.